What's up, everybody? Sujan Patel here, the co-founder of Mailshake. Today I've got Michael Gardiner, and we're going to talk about personalizing, customizing cold email copy and really focusing on like what actually, how much personalization you need to get through. Michael runs Done for Your Meetings. Welcome. Thanks for
Thanks for
having.
having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining. This is going to be a really, really, you know, I think it's going to be very tactical. Everyone listening or watching, just try the things we talk about here. I think one, it can't hurt, but I think Michael's got some really cool um, things that are simple to test. So, what what's working for you guys? I know you have hundreds of clients. How much personalization do you need?
Yeah, definitely. So to answer that, we generally look at personalization on a spectrum. On one hand, you have SDRs and BDRs that are personalizing to every single prospect. Percentage wise, this will always be your highest converting thing, right? That 100% personal manual outreach. It's just expensive to scale and hard to scale. On the other end, you have extreme mass blast cold email campaigns. You have somebody emailing 100,000 people a month. We fall in the middle. Our campaigns are all built around specific strategies. So, for example, what that might look like is maybe we have a list of companies that have just hired a CTO for a certain client. Or maybe if you're using a competitor software and we know that these pain points can be relevant to them because they don't have functions for that. So all of our campaigns are based around a specific list that's quite specific. That way our messaging doesn't need to be personalized to every prospect, but rather to the situation a prospect is in. Now, this normally gives us lists of around 1,000 to 10,000 people. So they're not huge lists, but they're still big enough that we can launch, 4 or 5 campaigns a month and not constantly launching tiny campaigns.
Love it, love it. So it's personalization to a pain point or industry or maybe even like a niche, but not quite to like so small where you can't scale.
Exactly.
Um, And how much? Okay, so that's great. I think that you're personalizing now to a specific pain point or an audience. So you've now got, you're now in the thousands of emails bucket. Do you do any additional customization or spinning or tweaks to each email to make it land in the inbox?
Yeah, definitely. So to answer that in two ways. So the first is the only other different campaign we'd run in a campaign. So I mean by that is if we're targeting, let's say, companies that have recently hired a CTO, well, we might have slightly different copy to the owner compared to maybe employee titles, or sometimes we'll do what we call it title grouping. Maybe you're selling a service where there's a different pain point to the CMO, to the CTO, to the head of HR, and to the owner. So if you're writing to everybody like they're the owner, then your campaigns are not going to do as well. And I see what's very common where somebody will cold email HR and the selling point is we'll make you more money, or HR actually wants less work and less risk, right? So we do sometimes create slight variations of our copy that are different for each titles. Now, to answer the second part there on deliverability, we see something very often we call copy fatigue. This is where people find a winning piece of copy and then they try to scale it, or they use that same copy across all their domains and emails and just blast it, and then it stops working. And it leaves people wondering, did my copy stop working? Did my offer stop working? What broke here? And what happens is someone sent that same copy so much it got flagged. So what we try to do is when we have campaigns and we have our specific segment within there, maybe different titles, but even within that, we're doing a lot of variation. And we do variation in two ways by doing multiple versions of emails. So for example, for email one, maybe we have A, B, C, D versions where we do split testing, but also we have diversity for deliverability. And second, we do spin syntax. So we're making sure that we have as much variation as possible to try to avoid any kind of, we want it to have human look like behavior, right? Everything's random. It doesn't look like the same thing sent from a robot.
Love it, love it. So then, if you look at that perspective, how many emails you think go out that are, you would just say like every single, with that filter, would every email be effectively completely unique then?
Basically, yeah. And the bigger list, the more variation we have. We have some clients where they do have very big lists. They have 30, 40,000 people are reaching out to. we might have 20 versions of email 1, 10 versions of email 2, and 5 versions of email 3. We generally do more testing on email 1 as we find that most leads do come from there. But generally, the bigger the list is, the more testing we can do. More testing because you get more data to make decisions. And also because you're sending to more volume, there's more opportunities to get flagged. And we want to have more sending variety.
Love it, love it. So I know this is going to be a short episode. I appreciate you jumping on. Is there any closing tips or anything else you want to add around copy personalization, customization to get it in the inbox?
Yeah, just to recap, we like to think of creative campaign ideas. So, is somebody hiring? Are we using a software? Do we live in the same city? Do you have the same interests? We try to build all of our campaigns around one core idea. Within that, we do different avatars of titles. From there, we like to do a lot of testing for both sending diversity for deliverability and also just to improve campaigns. And to end it all, we always add spin tax. When you combine those steps, that tends to be what works for us. And it's been a formula that I've been using for myself for about 10 years and we've been doing for our clients for years, and it continues to work.
Love it. Yeah. Thanks for these tips. We in 5 minutes we just distilled how everyone here can personalize one and think that segmentation, and then digging deeper. Everyone should be able to do this. It's not rocket science. I think even if you're using an outsourced company or you're doing it yourself, this can easily unlock those deliverability challenges you probably are facing these days, because that's what's happening right now. Thanks again, Michael.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Where can people go to follow along, learn more? How are you guys?
Yeah, definitely. So my YouTube channel is probably the best place to find me because from my YouTube channel, you can find my agency or find consulting or anything else you want. So YouTube's kind of acts as the hub. So I'll give you my YouTube channel link.
Love it. Thanks again.
Awesome.